Introducing my co-host, Kelly Stevenson, a 30-something businesswoman running Found Collective, which is event styling and hire. Found Collective is all about shaping dreams and crafting memories with an unmatched aesthetic.
Dana Willison is also my co-host and is one half of Will & Co., a photography and videography duo that provide feel-good photos and films for the lovers of moments. So, Dana, what's the podcast about?
Well, Kelly, the podcast is all about wedding planning for the modern day couple. That's why we called it The Wedding Edit.
Okay, cool.
Why are we doing the podcast, Kelly?
So we both have so much knowledge to share after 6 years in the industry each, and there was nothing around like this when we were getting married. There's still a lot of checklists and things around, but they're all very traditional, and you've got to have wedding favours and you've got to, all those little things. And I guess we're both really passionate about people doing their wedding their way. Yeah. So that's why we're here.
Yeah. I think once you've gone to a lot of weddings, you kind of see where couples go wrong very easily with their planning, and they're such small, simple fixes. So I think it would be really good for us to talk about our experiences with that to be able to help people.
Yeah. A lot of people plan to only get married once, and they're planning their wedding for the very first time, so they don't have any experience. And there's so many things that I tell couples when they we might have a Zoom call before they book me, and I'll tell them a few things that they might need my help with, and they'll be like, oh, I didn't even realize we had to do that. So there's just lots of,
I think there's lots of things that couples don't realize that they need to think about and organise and plan. And that's where we come in.
Yeah, exactly.
Kelly, can you tell me how you got into the wedding industry?
Sure. So I was planning my own wedding, and I was loving the creative styling process and the flowers and just coming up with all of that stuff. And then I noticed that it was really hard to find lots of unique props and decor from one supplier. I had to go to like a number of different suppliers to pull it all together, and then obviously had to pay lots of delivery fees for that. But I also had a bad experience with one supplier cancelling a very important item that I booked a week before my wedding, and it caused so much stress, and the client experience was so bad. There was no apology, and the reason was that they double booked the item, but I had booked and paid for it 6 months before. So I was just shocked at how bad the experience was, and I thought it can't be that hard to just be good and be really good at customer service. Anyway, I'm really big on customer service and putting the customer first. So I also had a bit of a hobby on the side, an interest in collecting items and furniture and decor from vintage furniture shops. Vintage was like so in then for weddings.
I remember.
And I know, sounding so old now. So I had collected all this stuff, and I thought, stuff it, I'm going to go and buy some vintage lounges. Just after our wedding on our honeymoon, I was like, that's when I came up with the name for my business, literally on our honeymoon. And I said to my husband, Joel, I'm going to start a business, and this is what it's going to be called. It's going to be called Found Collective. And he was like, okay, cool, like, have fun with that. He really didn't take me seriously. And then I literally went on to Gumtree straight away and bought a vintage lounge suite. And then within 6 months I had filled our garage with vintage lounge furniture, like lots of different things. And I had my dad building vintage framed blackboards and things because he's a picture framer. And, the rest is history. Now I do styling. So, Dana, tell me how you got into the wedding industry.
Well, when we were planning our wedding, we were really enjoying the creative process, like you said, with planning our wedding and making it really beautiful. We really loved where we got married, which was at Burbrook Forest. And
first wedding there ever?
Yeah. Woo-hoo.
Burbrook celebs.
We really enjoyed the process of planning and like doing things. It wasn't the easiest though back then. It's like 8 years ago now. But in planning the process, we knew that photography was something that was like really important and something that you put a lot of money into. So we decided to invest in our photographer. But unfortunately, we didn't have the best experience and we didn't get the best photographs. So we knew that the client experience there was lacking, which is why we decided to get into weddings as such. But previous to that, as a wedding present, my mum gave Doug like an entry-level camera, and then we're on our honeymoon in New Zealand, which was very picturesque. And so he was taking all these amazing photos. Yeah, I feel like I'm telling Doug's side of the story now. But he was working as a manager at McDonald's at the time and didn't really know what he kind of wanted to do or get into. So when we got back from our honeymoon, he decided that he was going to study Certificate 4 in photo imaging and learn like to become a photographer. So then did that, and then we got into weddings purely because we saw that there was the lacking with customer experience. And yeah, we just felt like we had a lot to offer. And because I really loved taking photos as well, we just decided we just decided it was the way to go. So, but like I know now there's so many photographers that are really, really good at their client experience. And they're all like really good photographers too.
Yeah. There's so much to offer now in Adelaide in a lot of ways. Like there was not a lot of stylists or planners around, 10 years ago, 8 years ago.
Adelaide's got a lot of talent.
Yeah, Adelaide's got talent. Should be a TV show. That's our next podcast. So at least you guys know that listening to this podcast, the people we're going to recommend or, all of it's going to be based around customer experience being really important. So,
well, that's too why we're doing this. We want to serve our clients better. We want them to have the best wedding that they can have possible. And doing that, they need to draw on the knowledge that you and I have and our wisdom within the wedding industry so that they can have the best wedding possible, really.
Yeah. And I get asked so many questions on Instagram and email. So it'll be a great opportunity to answer some of those common questions that I get. Do you get the same?
Yeah, all the time. And I think especially if we have one subject that people were asking us about, we can say, listen to episode 27.
We can just handball you to episode 27. No, we love talking to you guys.
We do.
As well.
We do. Yeah.
So
we're here to help, but we're also very busy.
So what do you love most about your job?
Well, talking about client experience, I love the clients.
Well, if you didn't like them, you probably wouldn't be doing it.
No, it's true. I think the love for photography definitely comes first, but it's a good experience for me too. Like me taking photos of people, like I love that. I get a lot of joy from that. Yeah.
Yeah. Happy moments.
Yeah. It's lovely.
Yeah.
What about you?
Similar, the clients, but also the fact that I get to be part of like the most joyous day of their lives, or one of the most joyous days of their lives. And there's such a buzz around weddings and wedding days. So it's such a positive experience and a positive thing to be a part of.
Yeah.
I guess because my background is working in HR for 10 years, a lot of what I did in that industry was quite negative. There was a lot of like redundancies and investigations and tough conversations, whereas the wedding industry, it's like flowers and lighting and pretty things, and it's about celebrating their love and their relationship. So that's what I like the most.
It's love, but on a really high aesthetic.
Yeah yeah, basically.
Yeah.
So I guess it'd be good for you guys to just get to know some fun random things about us. So Dana, I've got a serious question for you.
Okay, I'm ready.
So everyone listen up. If I was a dog, what breed would I be?
Okay. That's a very serious question, Kelly. Okay. So you would be a golden lab. And do you know why?
Why?
Because you're easily excited and very energetic.
That's true. Yeah.
Yeah.
Basically.
And so social. Always ready to party.
Yeah, that's right.
But then could be asleep at any moment.
And and for those who don't know, I've actually got a black Labrador called Hank.
He's gorgeous.
And I mean, you know how they say dogs are like their owners? Hank and I are very alike. We don't look alike, but we've got similar personalities. We're annoying and hyperactive.
Okay, so what dog would I be?
I feel like you would be like a golden retriever, but like not a puppy version, like a wise, like an older golden retriever. Not that you're old.
No.
But I feel like you're like a wise old dog.
I'd be one that has like
so wrong.
I'd be like one that has hip
But
dysplasia
loving
that like
and
walks
just
around.
loyal, loving, kind and gentle, like a lovely old golden retriever.
We're both golden retrievers or labs.
But what sort of dog would you describe Dana as? Doug, what do you think?
I think that was a pretty good description. But maybe not golden. I'm thinking like a chocolatey brown. Is there something like that?
Chocolate.
Oh, like a Milo.
But I know what you mean, like a mellow dog that's
Like
a little
a-
bit slow but just wants to be.
Slow, but not in the brain. But
Can't remember everything.
No.
Just like, like lovable, a
Yeah.
lovable dog. All right. So Dana,
Yes.
I know you can be a little bit clumsy at times. So I'm sure you've got some gold to share with me. What's the most embarrassing moment that you've had at a wedding?
Okay. So I've had so many, but I'm going to go with like the most recent. So you and I did an elopement recently, which was lovely. I'd finished pretty much all of the photographing from the day, but there was one shot that I wanted to get before I left. So I left it to the absolute last and I grabbed the couple and we walked outside of the venue and there's this beautiful field next to the venue. And so we went to go out into this field and it had been raining all day and I didn't realize that, water soaks into the earth a little bit. So the groom and I were walking out to this field. The bride had just gone back to go get her flowers because she forgot them. And then the groom was saying like, watch out. And then I just fell in mud. So
No.
it was like crazy because it wasn't like I've been in this field before to take photos and it's always been fine. And I was actually looking where I was walking for once and I thought that where I was stepping was a really good choice. But it really wasn't because my right leg, like it slipped like maybe a meter and it
Whoa.
almost like seemed like I was doing the splits, but my left leg went underneath me and I had both of my cameras on this harness next to me and they just went like into like the
The sound effects.
into the mud. It was like this massive thud. Anyway, it was so bad and like trying to get up, Kelly. The bride grabbed my hand and was like, here, I'll help you up. And I was like, don't touch me. Don't touch me. Because I was like, I'm going to like pull her down into the mud with me.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
She's going to get
she's
mud
like
all
in a
over
white
her.
dress.
So the groom helped me up and it was fine, but it was so funny because I was like kind of sliding around. I had these rubber shoes on. So I was like sliding around. So I had all this like, just like handfuls of mud on my like feet from where I tried to like ground my feet to get up and then all up the side of my body, like just mud caked on me, like so much
That's
mud.
crazy. Did you have to go back inside after that
No,
and
thank
see
God.
everyone?
Everyone was at the window watching at this point. And yeah,
That is gold.
the father of the bride came out and helped me and there was just like towels everywhere. And
That was the perfect wedding for that to happen to you because
Oh,
that
it
bride
really
was
was.
so kind and
Yeah.
also so planned.
Yeah.
She told me that she was packing all these towels in case
Yeah.
anyone got wet
Yeah.
when they went outside for photos.
Yeah.
Little did they know the photographer would be the one that needs all the towels.
Oh, absolutely. So I ended up there was a hose and I was like hosing myself off. You know, like when you're a kid and you go to the beach and you've got sand all over you and you have to be like hosed off before you go in the house. It was like that. It was very embarrassing. But yeah, I couldn't use my cameras because like all of the mud was all caked into like every single crevice. And I think it took Doug like 4 hours to clean the cameras after that.
That is so bad.
There's still like a little bit of mud in them. Kelly, I've told you my most embarrassing moment for myself. I know that you going to weddings you're not as clumsy as me, so you might not have like a really embarrassing moment, but can you tell me like a really embarrassing story from a wedding?
Sure. I have to say most of my embarrassing moments in life are not related to weddings, but I have some gold out there, which I'll tell you another time. But the first story, the only story that comes to mind is a wedding I did. I don't want to give away too much in case I embarrass someone. It actually wasn't the couple that this happened to, so we're safe. It was a guest, and the guest I actually never met. So what happened was it was one of the first weddings that I ever did. It wasn't the first one, but it was one of the first. And I had, of course, my husband Joel there with me setting up, and they hired all my vintage lounges, and we had the trailer and, you know, that sort of thing. So obviously we were it was down south, and we were there for the weekend. So the day after the wedding, we went back to pick up our items, like our lounges and things, and we were in the venue, and this like family walked in, and they were sort of like holding this phone, like they were trying to find, you know, that Find My iPhone thing.
Oh yeah.
Right. So they're holding the phone, and they're like, and I said, "Oh, hi, can I help you?" And they're like, "Oh, our son got really drunk last night. He's not here. He's gone. Like he's too sick or whatever. He's lost his phone, and it says that it's here. So we're looking for it. Have you seen it?" And we were like, "We haven't seen anything." Like, and it was pretty clean, you know, there was nothing around. And we're like, "Oh, it looks like it's saying it's like in there." And so it led them to the toilets. And then they walked into the toilets, and they're like, "Well, it's not here." So they're like, "Okay, we'll go and look in, like maybe it's fallen on the ground near the toilet." So they walked into one of the cubicles, and they're like, "It's saying it's right here." They lift the toilet lid up, and they look in. There is poo in the bowl, like a massive poo, and the phone is in there. What did they do? They asked the venue owner, "How do we get this out?" The venue owner gave me, the wedding planner, some tongs and a saucepan.
Oh my God.
And I was like, "Here you go," to the family, because I'm like, this isn't really part of my job description.
No, it totally isn't.
And it's your son. Anyway, they fished it out, and Joel and I were trying so hard not to lose it laughing. It was the funniest thing ever.
Oh my gosh. I have no idea what I would have done.
Anyway,
yes.
Back to the topic at hand. This podcast, obviously it's about wedding planning, but we want to start with the basics. So season 1 is all about what are the basics that you guys need to focus on to get your wedding planning journey started.
Yeah, the foundation.
Yeah, basically. So I guess you're engaged. Congratulations. We're assuming that you're engaged.
You might just be like preempting your planning.
Yeah. So what should they do next, Dana?
So after like taking a breath and celebrating that you guys are engaged, I think it's really important to sit down and have like a really open and honest, like free conversation about what you want your wedding to be, what you want your celebration to look like, who's going to be there, that kind of thing. Like anything kind of goes. You just need to have like a conversation about it, basically.
Yeah.
Express any concerns that you have with each other.
What's important to you as a couple, and just staying true to yourselves.
Yeah, and that's one thing I think we're going to be talking about a lot, is that Kelly and I both really know how important it is to be true to yourself during your wedding planning process. And it's really, really good to have a wedding that represents the two of you. So if there's a tradition that you love, keep it. And if there's a tradition that you hate, throw it away. So you can anything goes these days. Just do things completely your way. There are no rules to follow.
Yeah. And I mean, we're going to go into and share examples of weddings that we've witnessed where couples have done some really cool, unique things that are true to them. So we'll make sure to share those examples with you, and hopefully that will give you some inspiration for your own wedding. So one thing we're also going to be doing in this podcast is interviewing loads of awesome suppliers in the industry who are experts at what they do across a lot of different areas. So florists, dress designers, photographers, videographers, wedding planners, you name it. We have got our list of people that we want to speak to and share those interviews with you to help you with your wedding journey. I guess to wrap up our first episode, thanks for listening. And if you made it this far, thanks for listening this far.
We're so glad you're here. Thank you for coming on this journey with us.
Yeah, and our next episode is going to dive straight into what we think is the most important step in your wedding planning journey.
Budgeting.
Yeah. Cha-ching.
Money, money, money.
Money.
That was so good.
We are so lame. Sorry, guys. Thanks for listening this far.
Yeah.